Алло. Я снова здесь. Я даже не забил на стрим. 2 дня подряд. Я считаю это успехом. Да, это успех. Сегодня снова Disco Elysium. Ту-ту-ту-ту. Интересно, он завис или дал грузиться? А, нет, дал грузиться. Так. Чё ты остановился?
An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. East Delta Commerce Center? This must be the name of the doomed commercial area.
Что я должен? Торговый зал здания.
An off-key melody starts playing after you ring the doorbell. Then a woman picks up the receiver.
Kuno, please stop calling here. Grown-ups don't have time for your stupid games.
А, я могу сюда звонить всем, я понял.
She thinks you're the gremlin child. What would he say to this?
Лизанция — это я, как я и говорил, веду расследование в какой-то торговой зоне.
Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I thought you were... But the doorbell is broken, and the bookstore shouldn't even be on the list anymore. So I can't help you. Please don't call here again. Thanks.
A single
Ладно.
beep indicates that the line has gone dead.
Школа бокса. Интересно. Указатель Северный объезд. Тяжелый комплекс Кейпса. Причал Мартинеза. Объявление. Разбилось окно. Обратитесь к Кипсу за новым. Если бы у тебя в руках был пакет, ты мог собирать и задать эти бутылки. Ага.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible.
Смотри.
A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onuk written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards. That's Kuno on the lens.
Настроить резкость на задний план.
Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky weather-worn wooden planks, an X-shaped cross topping its tower. You know this to be the star of Periconesus, or the Cairo, the central symbol of the Periconesian church, a star, a great moral height to be strived towards. Around the large wooden building you see chunks of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice.
Палаточка. Слышь, крики морских птиц вдалеке. Понял. Я все, что хочешь, могу сделать. Мне любая работа в будущем. Ладно. В стене проходит линия отверстия от пуль. Что я теперь буду собирать бутылки? Как успешный парень. Получается, буду. А, денежку. Что, тут все? Тут все. Все, собираем банки. Еще разбогатеем. О, стеклянная. Ну нифига себе. Че, много у меня уже? Неизвестно. Огромные були, шары, достойные настоящего мужика. Ладно. О, ссылки. Зачем мне девочке предлагать бутылки? Одинокий буклан наблюдает за морем, безразличный к твоему приближению. Ладно. 2 дня подряд, ага. Невероятно. А этому куда пойдем? Нет, это там мелкая девка-то противная. О, нет. Просто я сам сдам их и стану успешным. Почему нужно девочке помогать?
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Здорово. Че я поговорить с этим чертовым ребенком?
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep?
Apparently, she doesn't like people standing behind her back. Logic error. She is not sleeping right now.
Pig's come to take me out, trying to snuff me out.
Ты сейчас спишь?
Don't get fucking clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever.
Умнее тебя. Садовый шланг, пока снег не растает, вряд ли он кому-то понадобится. Ладно. Столы и стулья, побитые дождем и гнилью. На этой стене еще одна линия пулевых отверстий. Оранжевая бомжовская шапка. Минус риторика, скорость реакции плюс. А ну-ка. Забавно. Просто закрытая дверь. Ты с подозрением смотришь на нее. Согласен. Я что-то подозреваю. Понял. Видимо, нет. Балкон с видом на двор и на дерево, на котором повесили жертву.
There must be another way into the building.
Хорошо, Ким.
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been following you for a while.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
It It's the voice of someone who has something to hide, my liege.
Я правда не доставлю, просто хочу выяснить, что
I
происходит.
don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Сука, дать ему такую сигарету? Нет. Вообще-то жандарму очень нужно поговорить с тобой.
Is it really that important? All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run.
Просто открывается хороший вид на задний двор кафе. Можешь что-нибудь сказать о повешении?
I'd even go so far as to say that the view is a little too good, my dear gendarme. Do you have an estimate of when the body will be taken away?
We will remove the body as soon as possible. Now tell us, where were you last Sunday?
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
Разве?
No, not you. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look.
Снова осматривает двор, дождь барабанит по карнизам и листьям засохших комнат растений, которым уже не поможет влага.
It'll take more than rain to bring this place back to life.
You didn't answer the question. What were you doing last Sunday?
I had a friend over.
Что за друг?
It was my Sunday friend.
На самом деле зовут его другу. Ну что-нибудь видел?
He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. Under the grey sky, the neighboring windows are streaked with rain.
Как тебя звать?
My name? My name is Martin Martinez.
That's definitely not his real name.
Тебя ведь на самом деле зовут не Мартин Мартинес.
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice?
Стих, как на дне колодца, малейший звук отдается эхом. Ладно, поговорим позже.
No. We won't.
Я дома поговорим, гад.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
Ну иди.
Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone.
Надо бежать посмотреть, куда он был. Пошел.
No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself.
Остаемся, значит.
He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, we need to look into that muscular type who's asking about our case. There has to be a way of getting inside the building. Once we've found a way in, we can ask around for his apartment.
Вот и славно за дело. Стоять. Что это?
A stone, like any other, lying in a whirl of sleet and mud. Maybe there's something under it.
Перевернуть его?
There's a key beneath it, rusty from the dirt.
This must be for the front door. Pity it doesn't have the apartment number on it. This building has hundreds of apartments.
Же нам найти нужно.
We'll just have to go in and see.
Окей. Уведомление о выселении и объявление о пропаже домашних питомцев наклеено одно поверх другого. В коробке полно чистящих средств. Пахнет стиральным порошком. Ля. Такое нам надо. Старая обувная полка, ботинки, кроссовки и старые тапочки. Обувь 3 разных размеров. Квартира 12. А тут доносится громкий раскатистый храп. По шторке в душу какая-то слизь. Плитка в ванной комнате покрыта самым настоящим мхом. Алкоголь. Есть на шторе. Балкон. На балкон пока не пойдем. Все нарисована пятиконечная звезда.
This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says number 11.
Смотреть замок.
It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. A solid pair of chain cutters would make short work of it.
Стучит.
No reply.
Могли бы перекусить скобу болторезом.
Why would we want to break into some random citizen's apartment?
Потому что могли
The
бы.
lieutenant looks at you for a long moment, then blinks once. But he knows it wouldn't make much of a difference.
I suppose if one were committed to it, there's a pair of chain cutters in the kinema.
То есть он мне разрешает это сделать. Отлично. А чё нам мы прямо сейчас бегаем с болторезом?
That isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers. The iconography of communism, in other words.
Внимательно смотреть символ.
The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted by Mezov and the communards during the revolution. Even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, disappointment, and fear in equal measure.
Почему она перевернута?
To symbolize the toppling of the old order. Also, some social democrats were already using it.
Что означает рога?
The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist in accord with the natural world, and at the same time above it.
Почему цвет белый?
Because white is the color of peace.
Какие чувства вызывает? Звезда вызывает во мне.
Nothing at all yet. Right now, it's just meaningless shapes on a wall.
Хорошо. Давай на балкон, может быть, сходим. Ой, тут еще много всего. Нет. Сначала болторез. Надо было сразу все забрать, а не бегать каждый раз. Можно будет бутылки сдать. Похоже, эти повреждения могли появиться в результате землетрясения. Хорошо.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. A metallic drawer slides out from under. The handles are long and sleek. Snap, snap, go the cutters in your hand. You can do good work with these. Cut chains, locks, and ropes, especially belts. The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. Preheater gauge, the white suede feels luxurious under the touch, and the metal clutch handle so very familiar in your palm. Your fingers waste no time closing around the handle. Clutch disengaged. Release the handle. Clutch drops. Right foot yearns for the familiar touch of the accelerator pedal. You have synced with the machine's mechanical circulation.
Я знаю, как работает эта машина.
You feel an uninterrupted connection to the mechanics.
Стоп, а это значит, что я и управлять такой штукой умею.
After a while, you realize silence is your only answer. Do what you will with it.
Отпустить ручку.
Of course it's only in your head. Of course it is. But it almost feels as if the clutch handle is gently squeezing back.
Как ты моя хорошая.
The smell of freshly treated leather, the lack of dirt and dust on the dashboard, and a neat little brush in the cup holder, all seem to be whispering, I'm good, cherished and cared for, in the hands of a tending owner.
Где ты была?
At the bottom of the sea.
Что?
So strange. The machine is not on the bottom of the sea at all. It's right in front of you, well kept. Why did it say that?
Пустить ручку.
The handle is pulled back. Somewhere deep inside the drivetrain, the disc is mated to the flywheel again. In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the large orange sector, indicating the engine is warm. Next to the gauge is a red switch labeled heat.
Now, that's enough fun with the foldable headlights. I know they are mesmerizing. They are also fragile. I'm not going to turn it on for you again.
Жадина. Так. Повышение уровня или же блокировать новую штуку. Блокируем новую штуку. И усвоим токоприемник. Если сыплется с токоприемника трамвая номер 42, словно яркий снег, медленно вниз по склону от Voyager Road. Потом на восток на Б-206 через реку и туда, где нет закрытых заводов и развалин. Учиться. В академию. Электрические провода плывут над головой, и токоприемник бежит по ним. Смычок по струнам. Вспышка. Она стоит у заднего окна и держится за поручень. Она в своем весеннем плаще машет тебе рукой. Хорошо. Авторитет просто в говно улетел. Что поделать? Что такое полицейская волна? Не особо понятно. Нет авторитета. Просто нет. Слушай, мне не нужен авторитет. Это для слабых.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents.
Кстати, бутылки.
Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now.
Вот это я заработал, конечно. Была какая-то мысль, я видел. Ваня, книги человека с Химдаля и Дикий огонь. Ты запоминаешь название Лоус, 87 радиогород, это кажется важным. Хорошо.
This door has been closed with a padlock.
Я не
A
могу.
short drawn number on the board says number 11.
Что он у меня не в руках? Точно. Время забываю, что надо брать все в руки.
This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk
Связь
drawn
замок.
number on the board. The shackle snaps like a twig, and the lock falls to the floor with a little thud. It should be possible to enter now.
After you, detective.
Кому-то в дом ворвался просто. Берем болторез, типа не я. Как я плакат с белой звездой. Настоящая литография. Книга с критической теорией об ужасах капитала и всяком таком. Фотографии революционеров, позирующих с оружием наперевес.
A plaster cast bust depicts a middle-aged man with impressive sideburns. The name on the plinth reads Kraz Mazov. Honestly, he does kind of look like you after all.
Почему этого, кто здесь живет, в спальне стоит бюст Красомазова?
The White Star, the photos on the wall. I think we have broken into the apartment of a young communard. How fitting.
И ты должен признать, этот Красомазов чертовски похож на меня.
Hold on a second. Is this why you broke in here? To find out whether you're Krasmazov?
Я не говорю, что я Красомазов, просто отмечаю, что он похож.
Sure you are.
Ну, ваш ты меня хоть немного. Неужели не видишь сходства?
Well, you both do seem to share an affinity for sideburns. But it seems like old Kras here didn't drink nearly as much as you.
Сука, сори, коп. Нет, не смущает никого штора, прибитая к стенке. Может, без изображает его до того, как он начал пить.
Very well. Let's look for identifying features then. Doesn't he have a birthmark right here? What about you?
Нет, у меня нет родинки на левой щеке.
Then it's settled. You are not Krasmazov.
Ничего еще не ясно, я запросто могу казаться Красомазовым. На родинка ничего не значит.
All right. But here's the big thing. Krasmazov looks Samaran, and you don't.
Самое счастье самарийц.
Okay, you win. Be Krasmazov then. I don't care. Why are you so hell-bent on proving that you're Krasmazov anyway?
Блять, я только что в тупик завел. Выберу самый пассивный вариант. Я точно не знаю, просто у меня такое чувство. Но я доверяю своим чувствам.
All right, Kras, if you say so.
Самоубийство Красомазова. Ага. Про. Что еще было? Пацаны очень любят позировать с оружием. 5-миллиметровый патрон. Я считаю, прекрасный белый пиджак, мы его будем носить теперь. Открытка Буги-стрит 46. Снят открытка с фотографией рынка на Буги-стрит 5-летней давности. Улыбающийся продавец рядом с своим товаром, мертвыми петухами. Петухи подвешены за ноги под навесом. Красная кровь стекает по тротуару. Мимо скользят размытые фигуры прохожих. Дверь в квартире 9 заперта.
You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The number on the panel says 10.
Постучит.
The walking stops abruptly, but no one comes to the door. Sounded like a woman. A woman's shoes.
Снова постучит.
A poor communard, from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Входит полиция.
Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant? I'm not obligated to open the door if you don't have a warrant.
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get inside that apartment.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally any reason.
Хорошо. Квартира 8. Надпись на стене: отряд для расстрела богачей.
Give me a moment.
Что женщина опирается на метлу. Ее костяшки побелели как полотно. Коже ей тяжело дышать.
The cold never does any good for my bronchitis.
В порядке, бабуль? Может, врача?
I'm fine. Fine. Don't you worry about me. Now, what do you want from me, policeman?
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
Кто вы такая?
I'm no one. Just an old woman who cleans these hallways.
Вы здесь живете?
If you can call it living. I have a little room upstairs right next to the coal room. It's barely bigger than a closet. But I don't complain, no. I have my bed and my aching bones to keep me company. And that's all I need from this world.
She hasn't spoken to anyone for a while. Even her sentences feel rusty.
Я ищу молодого человека, лет 25, темные волосы, худощавый, курит на балконе.
Yes, yes. I know who you mean. The scrawny boy who's always smoking like the devil, right?
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying. You hear a radio tuned to a talk show and someone taking a shower.
What's he in trouble for?
Ничего, я просто хочу с ним поговорить. Вы знаете, где он живет.
Talk?
What was so funny about that?
He lives upstairs in room 28. Go to the balcony. It's one of those doors there. He's usually home in the evening.
Thank you. We should go check out his apartment on the balcony. See if he's home.
Есть несколько вопросов про квартиру.
Ask away, policeman.
Кто из жильцов уехал в отпуск? У него почтовый ящик забит.
People come and go. I don't keep an eye on everyone.
They probably just moved or died, hopefully somewhere else.
Кто живет в 10-й квартире?
No one lives there. It's been empty for months.
Но с кем-то говорил через дверь.
Impossible. I would know if someone had moved in there. Maybe it's those countercultural people again, breaking into a house like it's a public space. You're a policeman. Be good and take a look, will you?
Конечно, я посмотрю, что там такое.
Great. Young people. They're worse than rats. You know, always littering the hallways with trinkets and empty beer cans.
Тоже за дверью с висячим замком.
Oh, that one is a scientist, a future scholar. I think he studies astrology at the community college. Education's good. I always tell them to study.
Астрология.
Something to do with all those stars around his door. He asked me to leave his drawings up on the wall.
Образ звезду с рогами. Так это символ коммунизма.
The symbol of what now?
Коммунизма. Мировая революция и все вот это.
Never heard of it.
Это все.
She mumbles some kind of a response, then hacks something into her handkerchief.
Спасибо. Явление опечатано по решению ассоциации риэлторов Картинеза. Скинувшееся внизу море выглядит холодным и по-зимнему серым. «16 дней холодного апреля». На обложке изображена черно-белая радуга над скоплением бетонных зданий. Книга рассказывает о тяжелой судьбе двух влюбленных во время этнических беспорядков в Югограде. Жанр психологический реализм.
In your hands you hold 16 Days of Coldest April by Yekaterina Dahl. The cover image shows a row of concrete apartments above which span a black and white rainbow.
Тяжелая.
Indeed, the book is unusually heavy in your hands, as though the cover were lined with lead.
Она длинная.
You flip through the book. The pages are thinner than you realized, and the type quite small and tightly set. It's nearly 600 pages long. Real art is dense and difficult. If it didn't feel like you had to wrestle a suicidal bear to get through it, you weren't really reading.
Смотреть на обратную сторону обложки.
The back cover is dominated by a black and white photograph of the author.
Как она выглядит?
She can't be much older than her mid-30s in this photograph, and yet, from this cover, the eyes of a sad old woman stare back at you.
Читать.
In cold, detached prose, the author describes a scene from one of the Yugograd riots in the 20s. Youths overturned motor carriages and set trash cans ablaze, while heavily armored guardsmen dash in and disperse them in a flurry of baton blows. The Yugograd riots took place from 27 to 29. Fueled by ethnic unrest and the state's repressive tactics, these events are often seen as marking the end of a brief period of liberalization known as the Yugograd Spring. Like all such periods, it is frequently memorialized in art and literature. As ethnic tensions run wild, a pair of young lovers meet each other on the street. Somehow, in the middle of all the chaos, they manage to lock arms and look into each other's eyes.
Что дальше?
It would physically hurt you to keep reading. Are you sure?
Почитай еще.
They go through a brief and somewhat awkward love affair. And in the end, they betray each other and succumb to the absurdity of Gradian life. The man becomes a lens grinder, completely abandoning his former existence.
Умер от прочтения книжки. Кошмар.
He toils through the daily drudgery at the Lenka polyfabricate. Happiness and fulfillment have eluded him his whole life. And in the end, he has nothing to do but dedicate himself to the craft.
А женщина?
She spends the next several decades standing at a conveyor in a Sosnovo fish processing plant. The smell of fish guts slowly seeps into her hair and skin as every single one of her dreams dies. The memory of their short time spent together tortures the former lovers ceaselessly until the end of their days. Years pass in solitude, their bodies growing ever more decrepit.
Это ужасно.
As life leaves their remains between the soil sheets, their final thoughts are filled with regret.
Пиздец, почитал книжку. Маленький человек становится все меньше и меньше. Ты поднимаешься над его кукольным мирком, ты видишь его в снегу, на улице, магазинчике, на углу, и, наконец, домики на небольшой спичной коробке. Он сидит у окна, белый цвет стоят на подоконнике. Ты всё чувствуешь их запах, их зловоние, белый траур, современная смерть, развод или что-то подобное. Что тебе остается как можно больше отдалиться от него, сделать его еще меньше, чтобы он стал менее тобой. Зрение камера плюс 20. Что-то я сделал. Я могу дальше видеть. Кто-то пробил стену. В столе старый список покупок. Банковская платежка. Бабушка просила зайти в комнату.
You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The number on the panel says 10.
Квартира должна пустовать. Вы проникли в нее самовольно?
Excuse me? Of course not.
You have plenty of reason to enter.
Мне не нужен ордер, если я подозреваю проникновение.
Oh, come on.
Well, that was easy.
That was smart.
Ну, привет. Опа-на. Похоже, неплохой матрас. Не будь идиотом, аж слышно, как внутри копошатся насекомые. В коробке торчит блистер таблеток. Возьми его.
Satisfied? My name is Marielle Charpentier, and I'm an agent with Martinez Realty Associates. I am not breaking in, as I have every right to be here. The keys, see?
Boy, there are a lot of different keys there. More than 20 at least.
Do you want to see my ID as well? You can't legally ask for it, but why not? Want to see my residence permit too?
Смотри паспорт.
It feels flimsy in hand, with the words Revachol Zone of Control written under a nondescript municipal logo. There's a picture of her with shorter hair inside, along with all her personal details.
Уже все в порядке.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? I need to be back in Midtown in an hour.
Пожалуй, в печатной квартире дальше по коридору.
Oh, that's another huge mess. The former tenant owes us 3 months of rent. 3. We closed the apartment and planned on auctioning off the valuables, but... And again, I have no idea how stupid mistakes like this can even happen. But Ron, when he came to close the door, didn't close the neighboring door. And there's a hole in the wall. A hole in the wall. Can you believe it? And then the tenant ran off with his stuff. He's gone. The money's gone. Just like that.
The sum must have been puny.
Если он задолжал вам какую-то серьезную сумму, квартира выглядит так себе.
These apartments are perfectly fine. They have gorgeous architecture, a million-real view of the bay, good ventilation, neighbors, life, spark, and they are affordable. I'll tell you, Martinez has a future. In a few years, it's going to blossom with artists and creatives and those radio computer wizards.
Я, похоже, тоже потерял деньги.
Well, it does not disappear from my hands. No, I don't let it.
Эти со стеной что случилось?
Don't ask me what happened with the wall. I have no idea how we're going to find the time or resources to fix it. Both apartments are now unrentable. Both.
Что вы здесь делаете?
I need to get it ready for the next lease, but as you can see, the previous tenant completely trashed the place.
Кто здесь жил?
It was some kind of a moribund old man who used to be a business owner. You'd think they'd make rent.
A sudden serious look crosses her face. This story didn't have a happy ending.
But that was months ago. Anyway, was there anything you wanted, or is that it? I'm in a hurry.
Да все.
Of course.
Give me a moment.
Не нашел в 10-й квартире никаких маргиналов. Там была риэлторша, которая готовила апартаменты для новых жильцов.
I see. I hope some good people are finally going to move in. This place needs them.
Я уверен, что все будет в порядке, этому дому нужны постепенные изменения, едва заметно.
Yes. Well, I hope they're good people.
Your statements are too vague to comment on.
Я нашел в квартире коммуняки. Вызовом косвенного налогообложения. Что мне это здесь даст? Ладно. Вот такой пиджачок.
The luxury of fine things. Just look at those black monk straps. After spending an entire day hustling, who's to say that you didn't deserve a pair of ridiculously expensive shoes on your tired feet?
Верно, красивые вещи приносят радость.
Beautiful things give you a rush. It's power. Crafting your style, draping your flesh in silk and leather, deciding how to present yourself to the world. Remember, when they come to take it away from you, you worked for those shoes. Whether you like it or not, wearing these shoes has made you more liberal, ultra-liberal. They're either a gateway drug or a booster pack to get you deeper into free market ideology.
Внутри виден каркас ремонтируемого мотоцикла и инструменты, с помощью которых его разобрали. Наверху какая-то девчонка. Вот она пролила краску.
Hey, up here, Piggo. The streets will flow red once more. A great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C.
Просто ответь на пару вопросов.
Ask away, pigman. But I don't promise to answer.
A brush? An artist? The red splatter is urban expressionism.
Постоянно куда-то косишься, что там?
The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred? Disgust? It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershot. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinez.
То она.
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to Ozon.
Ты делаешь что-то стеной.
Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words.
То есть ты не знаешь, что написать?
Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cards. And my name's not Mona, so...
Чего он так зациклен на том, что устранить это здание?
This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fire to break up the tedium. I thought I'd mix it up, you know, summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a wall-sized invitation.
У меня есть свое мнение по этому поводу, поделиться.
Yeah?
Я люблю паблик арт, не обращай на нас внимания, продолжай творить.
Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
Пусть рисует. Хули.
She means the opposite.
Это. Тебе что-нибудь известно о недавнем убийстве?
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko.
До скорого.
Watch your back, ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
Не открывается. Жилой комплекс Кейпсайд. Рю де Сан Гислен. Северный объезд. Уже кто-то не 1 десяток лет назад здесь были и другие постройки. В этой лодке сияет так, словно его недавно покрасили. Есть только для жителей Рюдосан Гислен 33А. Твой номер в танцах не сильно больше этой яхточки. А стоит больше, чем ты когда-либо сможешь заработать. Понял?
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
Что что это Л?
Beaton, my maiden name.
Что такое РГМ? Кажется, я уже где-то про это слышал.
I meant you, the Revachol Citizens Militia. The police.
Как вы догадались?
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
Пожать руку.
I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel. There is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic. It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines Group.
Вы на яхте.
Why, yes I am.
Кажется, здесь мало у кого есть свое судно.
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Эти на архипелаге.
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas Alamer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
В этом не было, я не видел, чтобы здесь еще кто-нибудь катался на яхте.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Да, просто обязан.
Before you do, it would be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat of hers.
У нее есть имя.
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
Ладно, а что это за яхта? Какого она типа?
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
Вам нравится?
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
У вас есть права на управление этой яхтой?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Давай поговорим об экономике и роли этой вашей яхты в ней.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Да, именно.
Detective, May I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator?
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Gislain, 33A? 33A, this old proletarian haunt here. As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
Парируй быстро.
Your synapses flesh.
Забавно, что я не вижу, чтобы тут еще кто-нибудь катался как сыр на масле.
You mean eel's hips? But point taken. I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, light, interminably bourgeois boat.
Вот с яхтой мы разобрались.
Good.
Создать впечатление умного человека, мне нужно, чтобы кто-нибудь подробнее рассказал мне о реальности, в которой мы находимся.
This reality.
Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case.
Я провожу личное расследование в отношении мира, в котором оказался.
How truly curious. A sort of philosopher-detective.
Моя теория заключается в том, что изучение природы этой реальности в конечном итоге сольется в единое целое с расследованием убийства, ведь на самом деле это одно и то же.
Are they now?
A deep synthesis. I'll assist you however I can then. Go ahead. Ask.
Да я спрошу, я обязательно спрошу у нее про деньги. Я обязан.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Сука. Где мы?
We're in Martinez, baby.
Что такое Мартинес?
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Расскажите мне подробнее о Мартинезе.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
Да мне вообще пиху, когда меня называют. Какая разница мне? Что за гнобление? Кому вообще не насрать, что она говорит? Упомянули море, как оно называется?
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean. Yes, we're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the Blue Immensities.
Называется это остров.
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the River Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her, and to humanity at large.
Скажите мне о другом, возможно, более фундаментальном аспекте реальности.
I would be happy to.
Блять,
What is
проебался.
a preposterous... We're in Martinez.
Пупсик.
A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed.
Сам пережиток эпохи диска.
Aren't we all?
She refers to your corresponding ages.
Что такое
Martinez
Мартинес?
is, you would be excused for not knowing about
Мартинес,
it.
понятно, что такое Ревашоль?
Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city.
Что вы можете сказать об этом городе?
The great kind.
Чем велик Ревашоль?
History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries.
Ясно, кто построил этот город.
The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminine and Ile Marat, depending on your creed.
Да, построили Ревашоль.
In the DeLorean century. 380 years ago.
Как же это помогло запечатлеть историю?
They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men.
Почему именно здесь?
We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people. In the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is.
То есть мы в центре мира?
Oh, we're quite a way off. About...
A sparkle of lights on the horizon, like evening stars above the curvature of the planet.
22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Смотреть на море?
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time.
Где мы?
We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately.
This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask. About it, might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
Право, я продолжу в другой раз.
It's better not to eat all your candy at once.
Indeed. I'm always at your service.
Ладно, если она здесь будет еще, тогда мы продолжим потом, потому что время уже 7 вечера. Ко всем.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else I can do?
Скажите мне про вас, Пайнс. Чем вы занимаетесь?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
Хорошо, тогда чем же они занимаются?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Какая еще есть индотрибы?
Son Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as brightest star.
Славно для вас подобралась компания.
Why, thank you.
Какой Wild Pines день?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
Всего-то, я думал, Wild Pines успешная компания.
And to think, there are years when the group books losses in the billions. Walpines employs 72,000 people, all of whom have families that depend on their salaries. It is a tremendous responsibility.
Откуда у Wild Pines все эти миллиарды?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavour. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
Наличие королевской монополии тоже способствовало успешному старту.
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Walpines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
Что такое гигантской системе нужно в таком месте?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
8% всех грузов в мире, да уж действительно крупное предприятие.
There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
Что вы можете сказать о забастовке?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Какую роль играете во всем этом?
I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-metre-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Расскажите нам подробнее об этом громиле.
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organisation now.
Забастовка все-таки связана с самосудом.
Yes, I believe there is a connection. But that's a subject for later.
Проходили переговоры до того, как случился самосуд.
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous, even. It's meant.
Что случилось с этим гомоном?
Mr. Clare told him to. How did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
В общем, получилось.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Требования они выдвигают.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Уже не имеют малейшего понятия, как делаются дела.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board.
Создание, скорее всего, даже не понимаю, что это значит.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Я прочитал книжку депрессивную, и я потерял здоровье, я почти умер, и мораль.
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
Это действительно смешно.
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution.
Что вы собираетесь сделать?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out. No, wait. The chief negotiator heard it from a man at the gates. Surely the Wild Pines Group has more effective channels of information. After all, 2,200 people are on strike. This is a big deal for them.
Что насчет отщепенцев у ворот, этого их туда отправили?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
Назовем их штрайкбрехерами. Это вы... Ведь вы отправили их туда.
If these strikebreakers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Скажите мне, председатель профсоюза, господине Клэре.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Серьезно?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Так говорите, словно готов проткнуть его рапирой.
Oh, heavens, no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin.
Он что, настолько ужасен?
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Что, их еще и двое?
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
Что вы можете сказать про сам профсоюз, не принимая в расчет братьев Клэр?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
Чудовищная пиявка, которая высасывает жизнь древошоли.
Indeed, and a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers.
Еще один момент, вы сказали, что произошла какая-то история с выборами.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Как звали эту председательницу?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the union's files.
Возможно, ее шантажировали?
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Давайте сменим тему.
Of course. How else can I help?
Что расскажете про самосуд?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, detective?
Помните, недавно говорил, что... Мой напарник говорил, что недавно у меня случился один необычный приступ, из-за него я потерял удостоверение.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Возможно, проснулся после ночи обильных возлияний и не смог вообще ничего вспомнить ни про свою жизнь, ни про этот мир.
Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
She must have been suspecting something for a while now.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Живем один раз, 70%. Как мне всегда говорится.
Feelings will guide the way.
Мадам, она просто обязана пройти самосуд. Для меня это очень важно. Я расследую это дело.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible.
Вы не понимаете, это для меня не какое-то стороннее дело. Это мое главное дело.
Trust me, officer, I am fully committed to resolving this impasse. This isn't some side gig for me.
Но у вас ведь так много всего, а у меня только это. Развешука. Это все, что содержит мое существование.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
Например, это яхта, а еще собственный дом. А у меня есть только это дело. Я умираю. Я же вообще ничего не понял, кроме самосуда, только это побережье и самосуд.
You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
Я один раз пробовал, маленький процент использовать, все больше не буду. Это бесполезно. Только трачу силы.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible.
Например?
The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Она, прошу прощения, мы на минуточку.
Wow, you work hard.
Реально?
Oh, yes. You hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and provide.
Ну, не без этого.
Oh, yeah. Like a horse, a workhorse, for hard work.
Я вкалываю, это ты о чем?
Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride.
И буду крутиться, пока не сдохну, сучки.
That's just what it's like. Life and death. But you got gills on your side, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco Negros and the Solas. It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop, and a sprinter, and a money printer.
В общем, да, кое-какие денежки вот найти удалось.
Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy? Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about to have an anxiety attack or shoot yourself in the mouth? But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, ask yourself, are you rich?
Нет, вообще нет.
That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that?
А почему я такой бедный?
Because of the taxes. G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy, sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze. Aren't taxes almost non-existent in the Gotham estate that is Revachol?
Я думал, у нас нет налогов.
You and I both, but they got those indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax. This tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus, there's the stuff people in other countries pay for that makes them ask for more money from you here. The Gotham estate's a myth. In total, the coalition government is taking. 98% of all your money.
Уверен, цифра кажется довольно большой.
What are you not sure about? They're milking your nipples till they bleed. Can't you see? Aren't you sick and tired of having bloody nipples?
Согласиться на чуть-чуть, согласиться. Свободный рынок, ага, конечно. Возраст, конечно, больно, но чем тут поможет дерегулирование?
It's all about the tax issue, hustler. No other problem in the world is as pressing as top marginal tax rates. And don't you fucking forget it. Hey,
Чё они все меня душат, блин? То эквилибристика, то риторика. То я?
yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again.
Снова?
Yes, you're ready to start building communism again. You've built it before. They've built it before. Hasn't really worked out yet. But neither has love. Should we just stop building love, too?
Не поспоришь.
So, what about all that communism you've promised to build? Word on the street is you've woken up from 1,000 years of slumber, promising to erect a version of communism many times greater than any attempted before. Is that true?
Откуда же взялся этот слушок?
You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff.
Конечно, говоришь кое-что умеренно леваческое, но не вот это.
Oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Don't deny it. You're about to rip it off and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that could devour and masticate mankind.
Да какой, блядь, коммунизм?
Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it?
В чем суть-то коммунизма?
Failure. It's about failure.
Крася?
Yes, abject failure. Total, irreversible defeat on all fronts. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped and pissed on. Until you came along. You will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin. Where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. Now get to work, comrade.
Строим коммунизм.
Oh yeah. Get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready.
Я бы то не предупреждал.
Too late to back out now. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few million eggs.
Закатать рукава еще выше и вдохнуть первозданный чистый воздух. Ебать, мне тут мысли накинули. Хорошо. Коду реальности. Идите, дверь квартиры 28.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, detective.
Чего ты ожидал?
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance and, you know, not volunteer us to be her henchman.
Да, я думал, все просто хорошо.
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
Должно быть в компании куда больше соглядатаев в Матинузе. Ей могло быть известно о моей ситуации.
I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think she's just quick to adapt. She's a professional, after all.
Что ты предлагаешь сказать от расследования контрабанды наркотиков?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching.
Может, просто найдем удостоверение?
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.
Вернемся к ней.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Прошу, расскажите мне о предполагаемой контрабанде наркотиков.
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
Правильно понимаю, что сырье поступает из Самары в Ревашо через терминалы?
Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut.
Хотите, чтобы мы расследовали это дело?
Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrart and the Dockworkers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Грузовики.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they're vulnerable.
How convenient that they're stranded like beached whales at that roundabout.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment.
Her irises are light green, like the river Esperance in bright daylight, upstream where it's clearer.
I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Uncovering Union secrets could also give you an upper hand when dealing with them.
Почему не обратились в РГМ раньше?
We did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers.
Резиставший на приказку языке — это не случайность, да?
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand.
Чего можете доказать, что профсоюз замешан в этом деле?
How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves.
Вы считаете, что забастовка финансируется за счет сырья для наркотиков?
Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
Ладно, я принял решение по поводу этого расследования контрабанды.
Yes?
Возьмемся за это дело, проверим водителей и посмотрим, к чему это приведет.
Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
Уже богато, дадите мне денег?
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy, is it?
А что, почему нет?
Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub.
Какой дорогой материал.
Why, yes. Tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, almost rustic in its simplicity, a silk shirt and matching scarf around her gentle throat, while dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry, wealth and all its possibilities. These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say everything is possible, within reason.
Так что?
Now look at you, you misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes, a scythe of booze precedes you, your hair sticks to your forehead, and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor, poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too...
Я работяга-труженик, мне не стыдно вытрясти пару монет из этой пиявки.
You think your little communism protects you from this feeling.
Коммунист, помоги.
The more demeaning it is to grovel at her feet.
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, Please don't hesitate to ask.
Давай. По денег.
I am sorry. It just doesn't come out of your mouth. What does is surprisingly eloquent, really. The last one, not the first three. Those are ape speak.
Деньги.
Excuse me? I didn't hear you. Did you say money?
Это просто что, давай сменим тему.
Of course.
Сука. Спасибо.
Of course, detective. Take care.
Что если я сейчас делаю вот так? Нормально.
You're back. Good.
Сука.
What can I help you with?
Проебано. Ладно, хорошо. Он меня утомил своими разговорами, я прям устал. Да пиздец. Даже денег не дали. Замок заржавел, и войти не получится. Был новый, там кто-то живет. Так. Здесь кто-то спал недавно. Синди. Кстати, кошечных лапок снуют там под решеткой. Городские крысы. Это угля хватит не на одну зиму. Пахнет химией. Овощи джинсы пурлем. Электрохимия. Везде все закрыто. Может быть, я если возьму какой-нибудь ломик в руки. О, ебать, я гений. Так, тогда... А может быть, нет, здесь не получится. Здесь оно не светится даже. Тогда мы еще выйдем наружу. И скроем эту штуку. Гений. Военно-морское пальто, внушение. Ебать. Вот это я теперь выгляжу мощно. Сейчас мне что-то дают? Технику. Ладно, тогда оставим. Ломик убери. Пальто мощное, мне нравится. А там что за дверь? А там, да, там ничего интересного. Ну, на балкон тогда. В этом электричке полно проводов и окурков. Вдалеке слышен шум машин. На город опускается ночь. Навески сдвинулись, они чуть-чуть. Изнутри кто-то наблюдает. Просто дверь в динамит не представляет для себя интереса. Да. Кто-то выращивает розмарин, чабрец, кактус. Дверь квартиры 29. Абсолютно тишина, никого нет дома. Дверь в квартиру 30. Изнутри доносятся голоса. Кто-то подпевает под бодрую танцевальную музыку. Да, мы не можем попасть, да? Вряд ли. Вот тут есть какая-то баночка с монетками.
This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security. Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the smoker on the balcony lives.
Let's see if anyone's home. Knock on the door.
No one answers.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is in the evening. We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good?
Хорошо, завтра с 1:00.
Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here. Apartment number 28. Good, let's go.
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone in a big apartment building. Don't worry. You'll get him. Remember, tomorrow. He's probably gone for today.
Хорошо. Как бы мне туда наверх попасть? Вот главная загадка. Может быть... Не, без шансов. Столько интересных мест, и никак не бывает с них. Кошмар. Так. Ладно, 5-минутный перерыв, я уже 2 часа сижу. Надо пойти налить воды. Я буду. Так, я на базе. Ай. Мой плащ так близко. Надо взять прекраснейший пакет.
This coin-operated viewer is facing. The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic.
Дали.
Probably some kids.
A simple but clever solution to ruin in a coin-operated viewer. It took ingenuity. This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle while looking inside. Then use the focus knob to zoom in if necessary. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty?
Туристический аттракцион делает здесь.
There was a revitalization project in 49. A design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war glory. It didn't stick. They got as far as the street lamps and the statue on that intersection. Then something went sour. I suspect that something was Everard Clare, the union leader. He muscled them out. It's how it usually goes around here.
Ну что-то может с этим сделать? Нет, ладно.
The lieutenant adjusts his collar. It's frisky outside.
Давай посмотрим.
Your money disappears into the coin slot. A clunk. The ring of metal.
Тяну сучку и заглянуть в футляр.
The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the view. It's blurry. Different blues and greens. In the middle of the shimmer stands a drab grey shape, like a ghost.
Пустить ручку, чтобы настроить резкость.
The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. In the ruins, a man-made structure is visible. A half-sunken sea fort. Its concrete almost reconquered by nature. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some time ago. Nothing but a rotten tooth remains of the anti-aircraft tower. A lonely birch tree grows out of it.
Там развалина какого-то строения.
Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out.
Так. Тут у нас что? Хилка. Здорово. Ломбард Роя. Быстрые деньги в скоротечные времена. Щетки без пальцев. Трохимия. Что на ремонте? До среды 7:15.
Evening, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them.
В порядку. Что ты тут делаешь, человек у шлюза?
My friend Barry the Butcher is stuck on the other side of the waterlock. I'm keeping him company and eating his salami.
From the corner of your eye, you see a man in a yellow shirt and grey overalls waving at you from across the canal. He seems disappointed about the wreckage on the waterlock and the salami.
Very good stuff. Anything I can do for you, officer?
Знаешь, как это произошло?
I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Revachol. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here. Especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then.
А ты знаешь, что там дальше по берегу?
Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins.
Не поделишься?
Sure thing.
It is salty, it is savory, it is chewy. The hangover only makes the salami more tasty.
Want some too, officer?
Why not?
Поели солями. Считаю прекрасно.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything.
Переведи рычаг.
You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then, nothing happens.
Сильнее.
Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind blowing in from the sea interrupts the silence of the situation.
Отпусти
The
его.
spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the waterlock to get across the canal. Some other way. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning?
Среда, значит. А, маслом вниз.
A crumpled billboard reading, Samaran butter soaks in the canal. Two ugly lines mar the bright countenance of the blonde boy depicted. The sign billboard has fallen on the waterlock, keeping it open, and thus out of order.
Пробовать остановить события.
Judging by the size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber, the cause was probably a motor vehicle. These look like the same tire tracks I saw earlier, in front of the whirling rags.
Смотреть кратер.
Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling up the crater at 35 kilometers an hour.
Проверить крышку лачуги.
The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the roof of the shack.
Смотреть покатно-металлическую кровельную панель.
The panel served as a takeoff ramp.
Проверить сломанные столбы.
The vehicle soared through the air, hitting the billboard and upsetting the posts. Then it continued its flight, taking the billboard with it.
Смотреть щит.
The sign broke the vehicle's fall into the canal. The Samaran butter billboard still looks freshly painted, suggesting it took the plunge recently.
Насколько недавно?
Within the past 72 hours.
Смотреть противоположный берег.
Still speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast.
Какой модели была гипотетическая машина?
There are two good candidates, the Caprice 40 and the Linear G22.
Почему Купри 40?
It's about the right size, and the tire marks look like they came from the skinny tires frequently found on that motor carriage. The Caprice 40 is a very popular model, with bank clerks, topping pie delivery drivers, secondary school teachers, cops, strippers dressed as cops, undressed strippers.
Почему Linear G22?
Very sturdy but light motor carriage. more likely than most to survive that jump. The Linear G22 is not a particularly popular model due to its peculiar proportions, which the manufacturer's design team probably thought about for too long.
И что теперь?
You'd have to follow the tracks to be sure.
Моргнуть.
The lieutenant looks on, waiting for you to wrap up your analysis.
Any theories about what happened here?
Похоже, кто-то очень спешил.
What kind of car do you think it was?
Рессор?
That's quite likely, from what I can tell.
У меня есть предположение, кто это мог устроить.
Oh,
Опасный, может, кто-то связан с нашим убийством?
the traffic hooliganism? I hope not. Fortunately, we are not traffic cops. Should we get back to the murder?
Можно почтового водителя к ответственности.
If we must.
Беру все дела. Решу 0. Но возьму все. Какое-то устройство, древний кассовый аппарат. Без женщины. Надпись на табличке просто... На табличке проста. Дэй. Отсекается кинопроектор. Она военная форма, но есть и парочка более экстравагантных предметов одежды. А?
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb.
Вот как?
Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hjelmdal burning.
Понюхать.
Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
Сейчас крутая футболка с человеком из фильма Дали.
Hell yeah, man. I don't usually carry printed tees, but this one was just pure exemplar.
Похоже, серьезный фанат человека из фильма Дали.
A fan? No, I wouldn't go that far. But I do think the Hjelmdalaman saga is an integral part of our shared reality. Most people don't think that the man from Hjelmdal really existed, but they're wrong.
Погоди, то есть человек из фильма Дали реален?
I mean, even if the man from Hjelmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjelmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
It's for the best, because Hjelmdal is not a real place, and thus he could not have gone there. His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Interesting.
Сколько за футболку?
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
Хорошо, я подумаю.
You should.
Грубая сила, трепет. Мне такое не нужно. Исходя из дела, игра на 100 часов геймплея. Да? Скорее всего. Я тут надолго.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps.
Смотреть на уличный фонарь внимательнее.
The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently. This would make quite a statement in your living room.
Это что, уличный фонарь?
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
His manner is casual, but his speech is careful, measured. He wants you to know that he has nothing to hide.
Где ты его взял?
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
Сколько стоит уличный фонарь?
700 real. A bargain, I dare say.
Даже учитывая, что тащить с улицы фонарь рискованно, цена все равно крутовато.
There's also the matter of rewiring, but the most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary indoor fixtures, which has adjusted its morphological field. The light became suitable for use inside the home just a few days ago.
Что, у нас новая цель купить? Фонарь за 700? Я никогда в жизни не наберу 700. Это нереальная цена. Мы узнали об этом фонаре все, что хотели. 700.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well loved and well traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels.
Стоят на цепочке, чтобы рассмотреть получше.
One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says Stereo 8 approved. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Там магнитофон для стерео 8.
Is the Harman Welshie W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real.
Они все точно работают?
Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres. Even though I don't really like music.
That's odd. Why doesn't he like music?
Любишь музыку? Что же тогда любишь?
The stuff I record myself. Silverware shaking in drawers as motor cars race by. Nocturnal animals climbing on the roof. Airship rotors. That kind of thing.
Maybe you should ditch music as well. Get into these more experimental sounds he's describing.
На самом деле я хочу узнать, сможет ли мне это пригодиться в полицейской работе.
If police work means playing tapes, sure. You can use it for that. Or any other time you'd need to play a tape.
Это все.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty.
Вот эти рыцари на лошадях.
Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
Кто это такие?
Franco-Nigerian knights. I used to be very serious about these guys.
Найти поистине крутую фигурку в коробке под столом.
Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
Что это?
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider.
Кто?
The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head. 50 cents. Bargain priced. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations.
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the head.
3 солдатиков в синих мундирах.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
Ого, этот похож на Рене Старикана, который вечно играет в танк.
This is what the loyalists looked like, yes, at first. Then they wised up and got camouflage.
Солдаты-роялисты.
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but children like the bright colours indiscriminately.
Вот 3 солдатиков в лохмотьях.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
Это вообще солдат?
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win.
Думаю, должна вселять людей надежду, даже мы на это способны.
Maybe. It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
Теперь гаем здесь. У тебя в последнее время были какие-то неприятности?
I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about inconsistent law enforcement.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travellers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from.
Да, достойная коллекция.
It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe.
Вроде что-то торчит, и если да, то на чем?
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Parolidon. It's tough to come by on the street.
Ролидон, что это такое?
A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
Кажется ли тут и правда жарко?
I try to keep the shop at a comfortable temperature.
Совершенно очевидно, что вы находитесь под действием наркотиков, уважаемый.
Parolidon is just something you know, since the People's Power disaster. I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade. Had to take it for radiation sickness.
He's taken it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
Народный котел, что это?
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. Probably some of it in you too.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service, releasing radioactive waste into River Esperance.
Что такое радиоизотопный термоэлектрический генератор?
A primitive nuclear reactor, also called a pile.
Почему его назвали народным котлом?
Construction began during the commune of Revachol. The people continued work on it after the commune fell. They wanted a cheap source of energy for Revachol West. Needless to say, things didn't work out.
Для чего случилась авария?
An emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine, taking the fuel containment vessel up in the explosion. Both the faulty design and lack of finances contributed to the catastrophe.
Скажи мне, будто аварийной спасательной бригаде.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of blood.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance didn't have the art to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud, years getting sick.
Отвести на загрязнение должно быть непросто.
There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened, and why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment, and early deaths. Cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could.
Кто был виноват в аварии генератора?
No one's. Everyone's.
So much bitterness.
A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen?
Как ты раскрыл ломбард?
The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me this shack and all the assorted junk in it. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from Forburg as I can. Still in the same city, but...
Спасибо, что сказал.
I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Сказал, что да, лихача, который тут разъезжает.
Traffic? I'm sorry, officer, but I don't drive.
Почему ты не водишь?
I just don't like it very much. Movement on the road never really gelled well with the movement of my thoughts.
Ты не слышал, как этот лихач проехался у тебя по крыше?
Now that I think about it, I do remember hearing a thunderous noise the other night. Some kind of powerful electric vortex hitting the shop, and then moving on.
That sure narrows down our list of suspects.
Или ты понятия не имеешь, кто за рулем?
He shakes his head, slowly.
Может, ты поможешь нам в расследовании?
I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have.
Тебе что-то известно о недавнем повешении?
I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
He doesn't know anything.
Что ничего нет.
The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
У меня другие дела. Очень много электрохимии. Очень много электрохимии. Бля, прямо хочешь, чтобы я был наркоманом. В полиэтиленовом пакете с макаронами стоит штамп «Гуманитарная помощь». Мост поднят. Телефон службы поддержки компании, ответственной за эксплуатацию разводного моста. Надпись «Продовольственная помощь народу Мессины». Канализация поднимается горячий воздух, кислый, едкий и почему-то успокаивающий. Надпись «Тонец. Гуманитарная помощь», не предназначенная для продажи. Надпись «Колонки от самарийцев».
There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small box, a variety of shapes and colors.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
Примерить.
Abort. These are hideous. What's more, they don't even fit your face. You can feel them pinching your nose and chafing against your brow.
Damn, officer! You look like a mega secret spy. Very secret. They're practically made for you. I'll let you have them for 2 real and 50 cents.
It's going to be very difficult for anyone to take you seriously with these things on your face.
No, you are definitely not buying those.
Профиль не слишком чувствительный.
Are you sure? But they look so good on you. You should think this through, officer.
Электрохимия, понятно. База в коробке.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap Syrahese plastic. The kind of plastic that melts in the sun. Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light into your pupils. A UV magnifier.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, super material, very cool. UV resistant. These will definitely keep your eyes safe and cool while doing your dangerous police work.
Вот еще раз может найти в коробке. На самом деле интересные очки. Я вижу светло-синие очки. На левой дужке надпись «Подводное австралийское рандеву», а право, кажется, вручную вырезана из кости.
Oh, very interesting choice, officer. Very high culture.
Примерить.
This is how a sea monster sees the world. You've become a sea monster. Giant, hidden, and strangely tender at heart. All is blue. Alright, but these actually make your vision worse. It's like literally being underwater.
Wow, officer. You look so cool. And they can be yours for a mere 3 real. My regular customers have passed them all up because they've got no taste. But you found them.
Ким, как тебе эти?
The lieutenant tilts his head and steps back, eyes narrowed in a thorough examination. It's a case to him.
You look like a musician. Like a blind musician. But you could do worse. Take them if you want.
Внутренняя империя. Интересно.
There are clothes inside. Cheap second-hand clothes, smelling of strangers' body odors.
Don't be shy. These are premium class clothes. Good quality fabrics, best retro design. Save the economy with your style, officer.
Save the economy? That sounds off.
Кстати, экономику о чем это?
Haven't you heard, officer? We've got to be economically conscious. Recycle your cash, keep it in circulation. Don't buy new things. Buy eco.
Спасибо за совет, постараюсь быть экономически сознательнее.
Very cool. The economy thanks you, officer.
Давай содержимое коробки.
You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places. The box smells like cat piss or like an old person with no money.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first hand, buy second hand. Keep the economy moving.
Скажи, что-то ценное в куче тряпок.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek. A windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100% waterproof, and sport. All in different typefaces.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir.
Обладание на один трепет. Ага. А тут что? Ботинки?
You see two lowly, defeated speakers, thralls, slaves basically, perched atop them like conquerors surveying the land. A pair of found, durable wear sneakers, ultra series.
I can see you've a taste for luxury, officer. Can't keep your eyes off those sneakers?
Смотреть кроссовки.
A pair of found ultras. The design is impossibly sleek and simple. A futuristic silhouette with a sleek monochrome colorway, a jet black upper, and a silver-lined midsole.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest found sneakers. Super air, super fine, super cool. Only 50 real.
50.
Only? That's madness. Fun ultra. Wear the future. You remember the slogan from some magazine?
Скорость реакции, координация. Ебать. Ты. Смотреть колонки.
These once respectable speakers have been conquered, reduced to a mere prop by the indomitable found ultras. A small heat emboss on the veneer reads, Solidarity Aid from the People's Republic of Samara. The speakers themselves don't seem to display any magical qualities.
No, don't look at the speakers, officer. Look at the sneakers. The sneakers are the stars here.
Бедные маленькие колоночки.
No, don't pity them, officer. These are old Samaran garbage. Don't even look at them. Check out these super cool, fun ultras instead.
Samaran trash? That sounds like they're from the Samaran People's Republic, produced under the dictatorship of the proletariat.
Могу купить грустные и униженные самарийские колонки.
No way, officer. These aren't for sale. They're bad speakers. Low-fi socialist junk.
Но мне нужны колонки.
Well, if you want them... But see, they are the pedestal for my sneakers. If I let go of the speakers, where will the sneakers go? I can't leave premium lifestyle sneakers on the ground. If, on the other hand, you wanted to buy the sneakers too, I could maybe throw in the speakers for little extra. 50 cents?
Damn, so you have to buy the sneakers first.
Угу. Не спасти колонки так просто.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year.
Я еще не заплатил управляющему кафетерию за ущерб.
You should take care of that, then.
Но у меня нет денег.
Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the street. We'll figure something out.
Я хочу с мужиком поговорить.
You see a Samaran street vendor surrounded by a motley assemblage of goods. When he realizes you're looking at him, his face breaks into a wide, welcoming grin. The name Sileng is embroidered over his breast pocket.
Happy shopping, officer! Everything's cool here.
Что круто.
Everything's cool. The goods are cool, the customers are cool, the place is cool. And one more thing, office, you're Very cool. Bang, 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 bang!
You feel a twitch in your index fingers. There's a finger shootout brewing.
Выхватить их.
Don't shoot, officer! Have we got an arrest here or just a shakedown?
Арестую.
Of course, I'll come quietly. But perhaps I could convince you to arrest some of my wares, officer. With your money, maybe?
Видите, вот дать тебе денег.
Start with a little compliment,
Yes.
then work your way up from there. This is about business, remember.
Вижу, ты крайне успешный предприниматель. Может быть, ты найдешь возможность поддержать сотрудника местной полиции?
Oh, okay. But why, officer?
Что это вложение.
An investment? What kind of investment?
Это вложение в твою покупательскую базу. Без базы никуда. База.
Fair point. You can't have a successful business without a loyal customer base. How much is your loyalty worth?
Не буду расти много. 5 реалов.
What? Only a fiver? You can't even buy a pack of Royal Extras with that. Let's make this one stick, my man.
10.
10 real is a bargain for that kind of investment. You
Правильно.
got it, my man.
Что ты продаешь?
Only the coolest goods in Revachol. I've got sneakers, speakers, extremely comfy pants too. Try them on right here. No shame, only freedom.
Это сделать удобные штаны.
I'm an entrepreneur, officer. I've got sources, buyers, suppliers, distributors, manufacturers, wholesalers, all extremely cool and above board.
Есть решение все это продавать.
Good joke, officer. Here we don't have permits, just economic freedom. Take a look around.
You glance around the decrepit buildings, the miserable weather, the sidewalks strewn with sunflower seeds and a dust-choked air.
It's beautiful. Beautiful freedom.
Кем это правда? Ему действительно не нужно разрешение для торговли.
It is, yes. Anyone can set up their shop whenever they feel like it.
That's right. No permits, no bureaucracy. That's why this city and its law officials are so cool.
Но что мы здесь делаем, если разрешения не нужны?
If you wanted to be cynical about it, you could say we are here to protect the interests of property holders. I'm not, however.
My man, officer, you make all this possible. Without you, this climate would be extremely bad for business. You're part of the Gossamer state.
Gossamer is a fine, filmy substance consisting of cobwebs spun by small spiders, seen especially in autumn. It's safe to say he's referring to the near absence of regulations.
На государство, да, это правда действительно круто. Я часть крутого, тонкого, почти незаметного государственного аппарата.
Yeah, that's the main thing about you. Freedom is great. It's what lets independent entrepreneurs like me sell quality goods at competitive prices.
Скидки для таких крутых покупателей, как я, предусмотрены.
No need for discounts at ceilings, officer. Everything's already on sale. Anything you want, 50% off.
But did he first mark them up 100%, just so that he could put them on sale?
Ты действительно с продажи, или ты сперва затлал цену?
My man, you know how the game is played. You and me, we should work together. What do you think? Shake things up?
Давай сменим тему.
Anything for you.
Упаковки всегда, которые ты продаешь, написано гуманитарная помощь. Это как понимать?
You mean these delicious pre-packaged shelf-stable meal kits? Really easy to cook, No hassle, really cheap too. Buy some, try them out.
No hassle. There's a little of a hassle here, it appears. A moral hassle.
За это не идет вразрез с самой идеей гуманитарной помощи. Она должна быть бесплатной, поэтому она и называется гуманитарной.
It is practically free. Yours for 5 cents a piece. Rock that tuna. Why not some macaroni too?
Тоже тут на боках написано не для продажи.
No problem here, officer. I get all this from one of my suppliers, an extremely reputable guy.
И кто у тебя поставщик?
Oh, he's a good guy. I think you'd get along. I'll let you know the next time he's around.
Interesting.
Откуда ты Лень?
Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about the past? I'm all business now. All Revachol.
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago in the Samoan Isola.
Из абрикосового сузеренитета, верно?
Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
Извини, я не хотел сказать, я имел в виду, что ты из Сигеи.
Very cool. I admire your awareness of our intertwined histories. It's super nice of you to apologize for colonialism, but the apricot suzerainty is a shithole. That's why I left.
Разве странной дурой он стал не из Ревашоля?
If you say so, officer. I don't worry too much about politics. I'm an entrepreneur, you know. Whatever's good for business is good for me.
Спасибо. Так, ладно. Мне сказали, надо вернуться. Бля, тут много народу. И у нас кто? Все в мире завязано на деньгах. Понимаю.
Can I help you?
Что, денег, которые я тебе должен?
Yes. Have you got it?
Помню, сколько я тебе должен?
For the room, 60 real.
Спросить, не можем ли мы на сегодня как-нибудь договориться?
Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
Не забираюсь что сказать, не мешать ему.
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects your business.
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment.
Это к ничему не приведет, не так ли?
Not until you bring me the money.
Okay, I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here.
Тут у нас что? Кем предложил помощь? Идите к его мотокарете напротив фанцев. Окей.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure. Regular people just call it the cage.
Есть спецотделение для перевозки
The
подозреваемых.
cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps are stacked against the seat. Their silver edges sparkle in the dark.
I confiscated these 4 a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal.
Что это вообще такое?
There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity.
Honestly, that sounds like an amazing physics demonstration.
Что значит я их конфисковал?
A couple of weeks ago, I stopped a young man for going slower than the speed of traffic. Turns out he was some coalition official's son and high.
Ты забрал его колпаки?
Mm-hmm. I took them and arrested him for driving under the influence.
Понимаю, я его тоже конфисковал. Завораживающее зрелище.
That they are. I was going to take them into evidence, but they weren't necessary for conviction. He never asked for them back.
Хотел поставить эти колпаки на свою машину.
No, that would be silly. I don't know why I kept them. It doesn't matter. I couldn't put them on this MC anyway. A cup with spinners. That would be outrageous.
Да, возмутительно круто.
He flashes a smile, barely visible in the dark.
Мне жаль, что из-за меня тебе приходится их продавать.
As I said, they are useless anyway. I should have remembered I have these earlier.
Я что, брал ломбард?
Yes, the Bird's Nest Roy, near the canal. We've been there. If I'm not mistaken, it should be open late.
Items that can be pawned at Bird's Nest Roy's appear in your inventory under the Items tab. You can pawn these items when talking to Roy.
Спасибо, это мне твою помощь.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners.
У кого Кима колпаки забрал. Блядь. Великолепные колпаки на колесные диски, которые пожертвовал тебе лейтенант Кисураги, чтобы ты смог заплатить за номер в танцах. Аспидное покрытие величественно повлескивает на свету. Сука.
Hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything.
Я хочу кое-что продать.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners appear iridescent in the dancing light of his pawn shop. Gone forever.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump a misc banger? No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course, I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come.
Thank you. Here's the 60 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The rest is for him, to compensate for the pain of being separated
Oh,
from
нет.
his previous spinners.
Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Посмотрю, что у меня есть.
Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Блять, я мог продать нахуй ебаный шар и не продавать колпаки, сука! Я мог заработать денег. Я мог всякую хуйню продать, типа винтовки. Блять.
I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Another time.
Боль. Просто боль. Мой мальчик Ким. Пожертвовал своими руками. А какой там выкуп? Не стоит 200. Я никогда в жизни не накоплю 200.
Can I help you? Yes. Have
Бери
you
свои
got
деньги,
it?
мудак. Ты забрал у Кима колпаки.
Well,
Прости за неудобство.
great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow. I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically at 9 p.m. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Copo type.
Стоп, есть какие-то кого-типы?
Yes. Guess what's yours?
Сори, коп. Жалкий коп.
Yes. Sorry, cop.
Сука.
The cop who's sorry. Let's make it official then, shall we?
Сука, пророчество Алексея сбылось. Да ну нахуй. Какие еще есть копотипы?
Oh, you know. Apocalypse, Superstellar, the advanced interesting cop, liquid shadow cop. But you're too sorry to say those things. So, here we go?
Ей копотипу не буду завидовать.
What? Jealous of the sorry cop? I think they'll be fine. Don't worry. They'll be super, super fine. It'll be totally okay. You can dual copo type from sorry to anything.
И чё, я еще, сука, им всем покажу. Я вам всем покажу, что я все делаю правильно. Все остальные еще пожалеют.
Yes, yes. Impotent rage and lamentation. Let's wrap it up?
Мне жаль.
Of course you are. It's okay. See if you can get something out of this, like info. Or maybe every time you say you're sorry, you get $1 million. That won't happen.
На этой прекрасной ноте мы заканчиваем эту трансляцию. В понедельник вернемся и докажем всем, что я не Сориков. А на сегодня все. Спасибо за просмотр. Приятного вечера. Спокойной ночи. И пока-пока.